about Thailand
It's a
because I
big
spent more
economy.
time in Thailand, but I'm speaking about the whole of Asia, right? Like, even though I haven't been to the whole of Latin America, I know the culture in most Latin countries is sex appeal, getting what you want with sex appeal looks, attraction. I have gone through this with DR women, Puerto Rican women. I've been to Puerto Rico too, by the way. I've gone with
Okay.
DR woman, Puerto Rico woman, Colombian woman, Venezuelan woman. Their whole culture is based upon sex appeal and getting what it is you want because of sex. And
I,
globally,
okay.
Latinas get what they want because of their beauty. Asian women do not. So they have to develop more tools to become wifeable candidates. I went to Japan. I met a bunch of black men that actually learned and fluently learned Japanese. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And that had me wondering, I'm like, it seems like the men that are more willing to travel longer distances are more willing to assimilate to the culture and language than they are inside of Latin America because they could just hop back on a flight and be back in Brooklyn or, Dallas or where they from. So I feel like when these men go to Latin America, they're not necessarily going there for the sake of marriage. Fly boy Way, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you good. Talk to me,
All right, what's
G.
going on? What's going on, everybody? It's your boy FRE, $H Fresh at the Flyboy Way, all platforms. As you see, I'm in the airport, so I'm going to have to transmogrify my conversation so that it doesn't get too crazy. Because I mean, this airport is packed right now, as you can see.
Let
All
me
right.
ask you this question, Fly boy.
Yes, sir.
Are black men marrying Latinas in South America?
I know a couple that have, yes.
Do you think
Do
it's more than Asian women?
Yes, and there's a reason why, but it's not going to be why you think it is. And the
Okay.
reason why it's more in Latin America is because there's more black men traveling to Latin America and traveling to Asia. Whereas the percentage might be higher that get married in Asia, there are far more people who do get married, whether it's in uh, Dominican Republic, Colombia, Brazil. Again, I met a guy who got married in Dominican Republic just like last year. The guy from the Passport Bros, not Aaron Paris, but the other guy, he got married to Colombiana. So, and when I was there in Barranquilla, I seen like people from like different parts of the states with women. And I think the biggest thing is just the distance makes it harder and almost impossible to say that more black men getting married to Asian women in Asia than Latin America or just men in general.
And then what kind of men are these men that's going there to marry? Are they older men? Are they men in their 30s? Like what men are going to Latin America to marry the Latin women?
All right, so to answer this question is going to rely on the fact that I think when people get mad a lot of times when people have opinions, they think people are saying this is the only way. But I can see that that's your opinion of how you think of things. But I think, just as my opinion, the majority of men are not trying to get married now. It's a different generation of stuff. So it's not even just going to Colombia or Brazil. The majority of men don't get married. If you look at the statistics, the number one wealth destroyer of men or black men in America is divorce because you lose the majority of your money. So with people having that at the back of their thing, they're not going to want to go get married. Me personally, like I hit millionaire status before 35. So no,
Mm-hmm.
at 35. So for me, I can never see like sharing my wealth with anyone but my kids. Therefore, me going to get married, it doesn't mean I go to Colombia or go to Asia for the ladies just to have our fun time. But it just realizes that if you want to continue your wealth, getting married is going to be a risk either way. Now, could it be more easier in Asia, like you said earlier? Yes, it could be
Mm-hmm.
more easier because I feel as though I dated a Thai woman for 2 years. She had just came over here from as an au pair, three
Mm-hmm.
months. She's from Bangkok. No, she wasn't from Bangkok. She was from a small town outside of Bangkok. And what I realized is that you can be more happy because it's more stable. But I think the passion with a Latina is going to always be more.
I think that language barrier stops a lot of the relationships from being authentic, if you ask me.
Why so? Why do you think that the language barrier? Because with technology now, women are willing to use Translate. Now, I have to point out anybody that's watching the show. I got to point it out. There's going to be a difference with me porque yo hablo de idioma. I speak the language, so it's a little bit different from me. So I want you guys to take that into accountability when you hear what I'm saying. But I think with technology, the language barrier is disevolved almost.
But
Cultural, no.
so you and me are one of the few YouTubers, black YouTubers in the
Content
space
creators, yeah.
that speak Spanish. I would argue,
Okay.
I would
Okay.
argue, because I was living inside of Colombia, I barely met black men that spoke Spanish. And I would argue that, and you know this, the
Hmm.
relationship with you and a woman is way different when you can talk to her directly in Spanish versus you needing to pull up your phone and then translate.
Yes. Now I will say this though. Your statement about not seeing black men in Colombia who speak Spanish, there's a reason why that could be true for you, but there are a lot more that aren't, and it's not as true to me. And the
Okay.
reason I say that is because when you don't go to places where people are less likely to speak Spanish, I mean, speak English, you're not going to start to see the black men who speak Spanish in these countries. Like if you go to Cali, Colombia, like when we was going out with the Cali, Colombia, there were a bunch of brothers that spoke Spanish. But if you go to Medellin to El Poblado, you're not going to get that same experience because, or if you go to Medellin, even some parts of Larelas, but even not even the majority, some parts, maybe just La Setenta, you'll see people who don't. You see like a lot of black men, Latina, men from America that don't speak Spanish. But when you continue to go to those same places, that's what you're going to get. If you go out to other places, like when you was in Barranquilla, right?
Mhm.
I see that you guys you went some places, but I don't feel as though you still hear me?
Yeah, yeah, you go. You straight.
I don't feel as though we as a people do enough research to understand where it is to go because there were so many black communities that you missed out on when you went to Barranquilla. And the people do speak Spanish. My homeboy George, actually was a teacher. He's a teacher down there as a no teacher. He was a assistant principal at an international school, and they had a whole another guy JB. So they have a whole community of people. But when you don't do the research, you're only limited to the opinion that you of the knowledge you get, and that it kind of comes off one sided. And I can see how people may be upset because like this brother, he's well traveled, but he doesn't leave outside of the comfortability factor. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And
Well,
that's go ahead.
I can say this. Even though I'm going to respect your opinion because you've been going to these
Mhm.
countries for much longer than me, these people that you say exist right now, they just sound like ghosts to me because I've never seen them. Now, I didn't spend a lot of time inside of Barranquilla. I would argue I spent a little bit more time in Santa Marta and traveled a little bit
Mhm.
more around Santa Marta than I did in Barranquilla. And often when I travel, when I meet black men who are actually expated in some of these countries,
Right.
they they typically don't really speak the language. And if they do speak the language, I'm catching like a one-off like scenario. Like when I went to Japan, I met a bunch of black men that actually learned and fluently learned Japanese. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And it had me wondering, I'm like, it seems like the men that are more willing to travel longer distances are more willing to assimilate to the culture and language than they are inside of Latin America because they could just hop back on a flight and be back in Brooklyn or, you know what I'm saying, Dallas or where they from. So I feel like when these men go to Latin America, they're not necessarily going there for the sake of marriage. Now, like I said, you might know people that's there, but it's like on average, at least for me, I spent a long time inside of Colombia. I was living there for over 6 months. I spent more than 8 months inside of Latin America, period. I barely ever saw black men that weren't on vacation. But when I went to Thailand, I met men that live in Thailand, have businesses in Thailand, are speaking in Thai. I go to Japan, they're speaking Japanese. I go to the Philippines. I wasn't there in the Philippines that long, but I'm meeting men that have actually settled their life down here. So if men
Mhm.
aren't living in some of the major cities, right, and they're
Right.
living in these one-off cities, how are you actually accumulating your data? Maybe because you
Well,
personally ran into a group of black men,
no,
but
because they're living in these major cities. They just don't go where the people who don't speak Spanish go because they understand that that causes a higher inflation of price. That gives you a different quality of women. For example, we both from the tri-state area, right? And if I wanted to get a example, what a definition was, if I go to Manhattan, I could expect it to be all wild and crazy, people from all different places. but
Mhm.
that's not a definition of what New York is. Because when you go to the Bronx, you go to Brooklyn, it's more concerned. It's not a bunch of people from everywhere, and that's
Mhm.
the same thing. For you to say, I'm not for you, but people to say, hey, there's nobody who speaks Spanish. Yeah, but if all you went to New York was Times Square, and you went to the Empire State Building, how can you really make a good analysis of New York?
That's a good point. That's true. That's true. That's true. But now I say this because you were just inside Barranquilla, right?
Mhm.
How many black American men did you really see in Barranquilla? And I'm not talking about guys that's there on vacation. I'm talking about guys that's like expated out there.
Oh, you mean expat guys? I only see one black. I only see two black guys when I was down there.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
crazy,
not talking about
but
the like the dude. I'm talking about dudes that's at least living there for maybe five,
oh
six,
no,
at least 6 months. Like you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? At
that
least
yeah,
that.
that's unfair for me. That's unfair for me to say because I know hundreds because I've been going there since 2019. So I
Okay.
know hundreds. Whenever I'm down there, I see all of them. Unc Jay, and Miguel. They live in Cartagena. They own a property down there.
Mm-hmm.
Unc Jay is, I believe, he's in a serious relationship. He might be engaged. Miguel's in a serious relationship. They own property down there. You can also go. My cousin, he's an artist in New Jersey called Unicorn. He just got a song. Well, he just did a song with Fetty Wap. Um, he owns a condominium down in Cartagena. There's a other bunch of other brothers. HQ, Kyrie HQ. He's in Medellin. He's a YouTuber. He speaks Spanish. He goes again. Is there? It's just that sometimes, and I don't know if you watched that Corey Holcomb and Anton Daniels thing. Sometimes what happens is that because your algorithm doesn't point you into those directions, you don't see this type of stuff. But as you start to venture, as you start to venture out more outside of your comfortability zone, it'll start to open up to you, and you'll start to see that, oh snap, it's there. Just like when you was in Japan, it's easier for you to connect with black people in Japan because in Japan, most of the if all the black people go to the same place, even if you don't speak the language or you speak the language, you go to the same place because it's so small of a number of black people there.
I would I would still argue that I have met more black men in Asia that have settled their life there. I'm not talking about guys on vacation that have settled their life there than I've met black men inside of Latin America. And I say this because almost every black guy I meet in Asia has spent a significant time going to Latin America, and they ultimately
Mm.
decide that they would rather settle inside of Asia. Now, I'm
Hold on,
gonna
hold on, hold
be
on, hold on,
on
hold
the
on, hold on.
lookout a little more. Yeah.
Uh-huh. No, keep on listening. I'm listening.
Yeah, I'm gonna be on the lookout a little more when I go back to Latin America, and I'm gonna try to find like the black expats or the guys that are having families. But I really want to see the guys that are actually starting families, like looking to build their life with these women. And I don't see it. You know what I mean? I
Right.
don't see
I
it
think
at all. I see way more in Asia.
I fully understand that part. But the difference is there are less a percentage of people who are trying to do that now because people have come to the conclusion. Like I think the biggest thing that really messes us up is that everybody wants to get married. Knowing that's the number one uh, wealth destroyer of us to want to continue to do
Mhm.
something because that was the basic standard of what happened in the past. Um, it's kind of insanity. It's doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting a different outcome. That's the definition of insanity.
Mhm.
So a lot of guys, especially with the travel people, and that's why you see a lot of people who are traveling, they're not going to look to get married. You know why? Because travelers open their mind up to understanding that what didn't work for us in the past cannot be the way we move forward in the future. So most people who
Mhm.
travel either have been married or been divorced already, and they don't want to. Shout out to like Barbara TV or shout out to Zoom to Thailand. They've been married already, so they don't want that again. Or they're like me who understood travel at a young age and realized that it is better to build your wealth and be able to sustain your wealth if you don't get married when you go places. So that's why, like again, your premise is that Asian women are better than Latino women because you don't see many people marrying Latino women at the same rate, is because marriage in general, which is like, you know what I mean? And the safest place would be,
Mhm.
yes, Asia would guaranteedly be the safest place. Like I said, I was in a relationship two and a half years with a Thai woman. Asia would be the safer bet to make sure you could maybe sustain your wealth. But then you have to think of it like this. A lot of people complain about Latina women wanting money, wanting they have the passion, they trying to hustle and stuff. But what would you
Mhm.
rather? What would you rather your kid be led by? A woman who just is satisfied and not doing nothing, just following your lead, or a woman who's willing to go out and work for her own stuff, who could teach your kid to implement that same strategy into your children. And I think that becomes the
Yeah, but
biggest
they're not,
difference.
bro. They're not working. They're selling box. Like it's not like they out there building businesses and like you know what I'm saying. Like a lot of them are not. You know what I'm saying. Like they're all beauty for money inside of Colombia. It don't matter where you go. They're all like that. Now maybe not to the same degree as Paisa woman,
Uh-huh.
but
Well, here's the thing
you know
though.
what I'm
You say that's not working. That's a hustle. That is a hustle. You gotta be,
saying. Come on, bro.
yeah. I know women.
Ain't no
Uh,
way.
I know a woman. You might not know her because you like you kind of like. How long you been doing this travel on YouTube?
Like 2 years. Not long.
Yeah.
Not long.
I,
Two
I could
years.
assume you've been doing it long because you used to rap. So, all
Yeah.
right. So, um, there was a woman. Everyone knew her in the space from being a pro in Cartagena. Everyone knew her in the space. Like it was like everyone they knew when they touched down, they was trying to get in touch with her. Right? She
Mhm.
took that to acquire property, cars, and everything in the United States because she hustled her
Mhm.
way from going and working out in front of the Dolce Vita to now having guys who spend lavishly on her in Washington D.C. So
Mhm.
there are multiple stories like that, but there are rarely stories like that of a woman in Asia who did the exact same thing. Most of the time, the way they get their money is they get married and they move over here, but you don't see them lavishly living. And you see all the women who travel around the world. Like most Latinas have traveled far more than Asians. You can see just about Instagram photos. And the reason why that is part of sorry, that's part of the hustling aspect of things. So for me personally, this is my opinion. As a person
Mhm.
didn't have who didn't have wealth, and did grab wealth came from an urban environment, I, I understand the struggles that you go through to get to where you're going. And my lady to to do, and I think more Latinos do that than Asian women. You talk. I'm listening to you. I got to find out what things at.
Yeah, I just think a lot of Asian women, and I'm not just talking about just Thailand, but a lot of Asian women like they're very like they want to go get like an education. They like up themselves in corporate. A lot of the women that are on top of the corporate ladder when it comes to the U.S. are Asian women. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the women that run you like like remote teams and sales, they're like from the Philippines. So I think like yeah, Latinas have a certain way to hustle, but it's almost like they trade their morals for cash. I wouldn't want to marry a woman that would trade her morals for cash. That's just kind of not really my thing.
Uh,
I get it. I have seen the woman that use the selling box to build themselves up, but a
I
lot of them just get stuck selling box.
I do. Do we have? I think we have a different opinion on morals because I think morals are G12. All right, hold on a second. I think morals for I think morally is based on how you're raised. And if I'm raised to know
Mhm.
that being a pro is a legit is a way that is legitimate and legal in the country I live in, and I know that it's a way that I can get there quicker to get to where I want to get quicker, right? Then how can it be immoral if in my culture it's accepted? Because what's immoral is something that isn't accepted in your culture, but you do it anyway. For example, selling drugs in the United States is illegal. People do it and they idolize it, but it's illegal. So it is accepted in our culture. So if you get big as a drug dealer, you might get fame, but it's not something that you can brag about doing or something that you would do because it's legal. But over there, being a pro is legal. That's part of growing up. Their grandmothers are pro. Their great grand, even in our culture.
Yeah, but I would argue that it's actually not accepted in their culture because they try to conceal it. Like I've met a lot of women, they like they family don't know that they go to the red light zones to go and sell it
Mhm.
because they're also Catholic at the same time, right? So it's kind of one of those things like we know you're doing it, but don't speak on it because it's not socially acceptable. So just because it's like kind of like it's kind of like when somebody's mother, she knows her son is out there having sex. She don't like that, and she don't want him talking about it. She knows he's doing it, but she really don't have no control over it. But in their situation, it's like, we need this money so much, we need the money so bad, we're gonna accept it, but it's not something that's like, it's not approved. It's not a stamp of approval, because if it was, these countries wouldn't be trying their hardest to keep sex tourists out. They would just be welcoming it. Let's come in and buy up our daughters and buy up our sisters. But they're not. It's kind of just like, sorry, bro, you breaking up. Your Wi-Fi is on.
I'm listening. Oh, can you hear me now?
Your sound's coming in, but you kind of just a little messy. But I'll finish my point, right? So they're a very Catholic based country, so it's not acceptable. In fact, when you go to some of these churches, a lot of their, like, if you've ever been to church outside of Colombia, their testimony is that they left the prostitution and they started trying to follow God, and they left the Tusi and the drugs alone, and they're trying to be delivered. A lot of the like actual, like, people, whether they're fronting or not, their whole thing is, our women need to stop selling their bodies to foreigners. That's where the hate is coming in from, because it's like they feel as if a large amount of their population is opening themselves up to the idea of selling their bodies, because there's such an influx of foreigners that's willing to pay for it. It's like, man, if you guys would stop allowing these guys to come, that temptation wouldn't be there, because these women are poor. So if you get rid of the temptation, now they're forced to have to integrate into doing normal things for money and living at their means. But if they know that some foreigner can come and give her a someone's 1 month salary in one night, what is her incentive to have morals? What is her incentive to get an education? What is her incentive to do XYZ, right? Versus, and this is a bunch of countries in Latin America. It's not just Colombia, but versus you go to Asia, you virtually only have a few countries that are like that, and then you have some of the higher top Asian countries where education, building business, ecosystem is how the women build up their wealth. So even though sex sells everywhere, you tend to find that a lot more women are open to selling sex inside of Latin America than in Asia. And some of them stick to that. They never try to go anywhere beyond that.
All right. Yeah, everybody, can you hear me now?
My boy, you cutting out, bro.
Hold on, I'm gonna move. You hear me?
You cutting out, bro. You frozen.
Hold on, I'm about to put Wi-Fi.
Yeah, listen, I'm gonna take you out and then come back in. Yeah, I'm gonna take you out and then come back in. Hold on. Let me see. Maybe. Wait, hold on. Now you cleaning up now.
I'm connecting to the Wi-Fi.
You cleaning up now.
I'm connecting to the Wi-Fi. Give me a second.
All right.
I'm back.
Okay. Now you're good. You're straight.
Yeah, I just connected to the Wi-Fi. All right, so we have different premises on certain things. And I get it. I definitely get it. Because you said that you think that the countries are trying to go against, for all intents and purposes, as tourism, because they want the country to be more moral. That is never been the reason why in my book. And it's not logical that could possibly be the reason, because morality lies in different people. No country has one morality. What the issue is that when you have tourism, the government loses control of its people, because now the people who didn't have access to capital through ways that they didn't have it before now have access to capital to do things that the government never allowed them to do. Every single government doesn't want a woman to be who doesn't have any education, who may be from an urban area or cartels to have or anything like that, to be able to make a significant amount of billions of dollars. Do you know how much money tourism in Thailand brings in per year? Now, if the government...
Yes, bro, I do know. Actually, we talk about it a lot. It's like billions of dollars.
Right.
It's billions of dollars.
So if it's billions of dollars, right? And now you have billions of dollars that the government has no access to, is going directly straight to the people. The government starts to lose control when they start to lose control. The only way All right, let me say this right here. The only reason why government have control of the people is because they have control of the currencies around the world and access to capital in every single country.
Flyboy, 1 second though. Because you snapping right now, I'm gonna say that. But let me also say this: I am not saying the underlying truthful reason is morality. What I'm saying is what they're painting over the veil is we want them to stop doing this for morals. We want them to do X, Y, Z. I know sex sells underneath everything. That's the foundation of a lot of things. But look at what's happening right now when it comes, like with Interpol. Interpol is not ran by these poor third world countries. Interpol is ran by first world countries, but Interpol is going to apply pressure to Brazil to cut down the sex tourism. It's going to apply pressure to like Colombia to cut down the sex tourism. Whether it's for moral reasons, truthfully or not, doesn't matter. That's the excuse they're giving. So now that trickles down to the people that's going, yo, we need to stop these S tourists from coming in. We know they're not stopping it, but they got to try to paint it as, yo, we need this to stop. We need this to do this, do this, do this, do this. For me, as someone who's raising a family, right, I don't even want my woman to be involved in something like that because money at the end of the day does not create legacy. Principles and a foundation creates legacy. Now, having money is going to make things a lot easier. But if you're building your foundation on things that are considered immoral, even if we know, right, the government writes laws and tells you to not do things, but then they go ahead and do the same shit. Like you can't sell drugs, but then they allow these corporations to sell drugs. But what I'm saying is when you're deliberately going on the side of doing the things that your government has already listed as not, you start entering criminal territory. So if you are willing to sell sex,
Right.
you might also enter the venture of selling drugs. You might, well, I mean, like it makes money faster. So the money's important. And I'm like, once you start going down that route, even if you are trying to make a power play, you ultimately end up disempowering yourself. That makes sense?
Here's the thing. I want to address two aspects of this real quick. Criminality is only based on what the government says. Because can you hear me?
Yeah. You straight, you coming in clean.
Because at one point, selling alcohol was criminal. It was, in the States, it was criminal to sell alcohol. They had prohibition. You wasn't able to do it. So criminality and morality is only based on how much the government can control something to get money. So to say that that's the only way that's a bad thing is kind of not understanding why things are illegal. Or because the government, if the government can't control the asset and the capital that comes from these situations, until they can, it will always be illegal. That's why Bitcoin is going through the situation it's going through now. That's why crypto is going through the same situation now because the government right now does not have full control over it. So for me to say if a woman would do that, then it's going to be bad. No, to me it is not because I don't want my child's mother to determine what's bad by other people's standards because then you just keep flip-flopping as long as the rules change. Oh, it's bad to sell alcohol now? I won't sell it. I lose all this money that I could have sold. And now it's legal now, so I can do it again. Weed, at first, you couldn't smoke it in America. You couldn't do it in America. And now you can. It's legal. So basically, my baby mother, my child's mother, my legacy would be playing behind the system that's already not informed for her. The second thing is, now I know you're a little younger than me, a little bit younger than me. Have you ever seen Coming to America?
Yeah.
All
Many
right.
times.
Okay, the original one. There was a scene in Coming to America where Eddie Murphy had a choice. He had to pick a woman that was already submissive, already everything in the way she is, kind of like a Thailand woman is right now. The way she was submissive, she would do what she say, jump on the foot, jump on one foot, bark like a dog, do all this stuff like that. And he chose not to pick her. Do you know why? Because he said, I cannot have my child raised by a woman who's this submissive and is doing it, and it doesn't have the drive to do anything but whatever I say. I think that is what's going on with brothers going to Thailand. Brothers going to Thailand and going and getting this woman that's the bark like a dog lady, and it's dope, and it's something that goes standard. But if you really want to build a legacy, you want your legacy to outlive whatever the government is doing. That's not going to be it. The Latina woman is going to definitely give you a better opportunity. If you know what I mean, because you can take that, and that's not even mentioning Spanish is spoken more places than any Asian things outside of China. So again, I fully understand what you're saying as far as to get married, yes, But to build legacy, no, you can't even own property over there.
Yeah, and see, that's why I think this was going to be a good conversation, because it's like Thailand has everything that like Colombia is missing, but then like Colombia also has everything that Thailand's missing, especially when it comes to owning land. For me, that's why I don't think I could ever say I would focus my life in Asia. But I would also say I don't like a culture in which sexual liberation by women, not being faithful, selling box for money is like commonality. It's kind of like how girls go to the club now and twerk. Like feel like
Wait
you
a
go
minute.
to brunch. You go to brunch, you can't go to a single brunch spot where bitches don't start twerking like hoes. And it's like, yo, like it's like that same culture is ingrained inside of Latin America, but
Time,
with
Mosa,
sex.
Mosa, time out, my man. Do you know what you just said on camera?
What?
Say it again about the culture not being ingrained in S tourism.
I forgot how I said it, bro. Just
But
get to your point. What you mean? What you mean?
because Thailand is more than Colombia. There is no walking street in Colombia. There's no soapy massages in Colombia. There are no none of that stuff that happens in Thailand. There is none of that in Colombia. So is there a Casa? Yes.
Let me
So when you
preface this. Let
sit,
me preface this. Thailand. I'm
you know,
saying Thailand
it's the
because I
biggest
spent more
economy.
time in Thailand. But I'm speaking about the whole of Asia, right? Like even though I haven't been to the whole of Latin America, I know the culture in most Latin countries is sex appeal, getting what you want with sex appeal looks, attraction. I have gone through this with DR women, Puerto Rican women. I've been to Puerto Rico too, by the way. I've gone with
Okay.
DR woman, Puerto Rico woman, Colombian woman, Venezuelan woman. Their whole culture is based upon sex appeal and getting what it is you want because of sex. And
All right.
globally,
Okay.
Latinas get what they want because of their beauty. Asian women do not. So they have to develop more tools to become wifeable candidates. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, do you know the number one? I mean, we can't talk about China. China's a whole different government. But do you know the number one economy in Thailand? Number one economy in Vietnam. The number one economy in the Philippines is S tourism. So when you compare that,
Yeah.
the number one economy in Colombia is not S tourism. It's not even number two or three. So it just because it's so frequently seen in the algorithm that you watch or that we watch, um, it kind of interprets your mind to believe that that's the standard. But when you Google this stuff and find out, hey, S tourism is like number four. It's like coffee, and then there's some kind of international trade, and then there's tourism is third, and then S tourism
Do
is
you really
fourth. It's
believe
like
those numbers though, bro? Like, bro, think about how much coochie gets sold. Bro, it's like when it comes to them selling white, they are never gonna sell white as their biggest money maker inside of Colombia. But me and you both know that it is. It's like, come
we
on.
it's not we got to have a standard that we base things on. Whether or not it's completely true or not, we got to have a standard by at least what we base things on. Like, okay, so these are the standards that people are going by. Factually, it's saying economically, this is the top thing, this is the second thing. Now maybe they are wrong, maybe they're stripping all right, but we know that S tourism is definitely not the first. If the first in Colombia, we know that for a fact, because you got tourism, you got drugs, you got drugs, you got
Yeah.
so much. You got coffee, you got a bunch of stuff. But we
Mhm.
know for a fact in these countries that people were going to find wives, because the majority of people are not going to China to find wives because China is a communist place. They're not going there like that. Their mentality's not there. They're going to Thailand. They're going to Philippines. Philippines. They're going to Vietnam. They're going to, those are the Asian countries they're going to. So we have to take that into consideration and say the number one economy over there is tourism. Not number one. It's as tourism is getting more money than tourism in these places. Like there's no soy six, no soy six in Medellin.
Yeah, I think Thailand, me even mentioning Thailand and is kind of a really bad example just because they pull in so much money through their sex tourism. But when you consider places like South Korea, when you consider places like Japan, when like you consider some of these countries in Asia that aren't poor countries, and you realize that a lot of these women are well disciplined and their mind doesn't even operate around sex tourism. But then when you go to some of these Latin countries, like bro, go to Peru. Go to Peru. A lot of foreigners don't go to
Outline.
Peru.
Wait, Peru. Get the,
Wait,
okay,
wait,
so
hold on, wait.
go ahead. 'Cause
Peru, their sex tourism is through the roof, but it's not for it's not for foreigners. It's
it's for
for
the
their
locals.
own local men.
Because that's the economy that does the most. But there's their own men that makes the money. So whenever you give an example, it's always leads back to this is still more than in other places.
But you're proving my point still.
How?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, for you, like I said, like our conversation is going to differ because we're talking morals. But for me, I don't want a wife where she grows up in a culture where it's okay to sell it. Like, nah, that's not valid to me. Like, hell no, hell no.
So two things. So we're not. So that means that you're not getting a Thailand wife, you're not getting a Vietnam wife, you're not getting a Philippines wife, you're not getting a and some of these other countries like South Asia and China, they do have big parts of it. It's just the government shuts it down from being seen. Let's not say that because if you're Chinese, you like part of the
Yeah,
Yakuza and stuff. You're gonna get those same accents in the same places. Now here's the thing though. You're saying that, and then you did say that you wanted to get married in the states. So then you say, either I'm gonna choose to marry a woman who that's within her culture. We're not gonna say the most thing. It's in her culture, or I'm going to go back to what I know, what I know factually has led more of us to losing our wealth, losing our sanity, losing
no.
our connection with children.
I'm not getting
Yeah.
married on paper in the States ever. I'm not. I'm
Oh,
not
okay,
burying
okay.
myself like that. That's not
I'm
happening.
like,
But
I know you
I
smarter than I
think
knew you
most
smarter than that.
men, yeah, most men, if it comes to like, let's say that whole thing when marriage did not exist in the States, I think most men would find a wife in the States. I don't think men are prepared for the cultural difference that actually exists in some of these countries. They think they could come overseas and just find a wife until they have to get acclimated to their culture. Like prime example, you start learning inside of Peru that their S tourism or the S work is so prevalent amongst their own men it gets like I've never seen nothing like that until I got to Peru, and I was like, yo,
Husbands and wives and all that.
yeah, like yo, like this is crazy. Like this is what's happening inside of South America on such a level, but you don't see it because it's not publicized, and it's like you got to now pick a wife from out of this. Versus when you come over to the U.S., not saying that it doesn't happen, but it's so pushed off into the corner. That's like a niche thing for you to get into. It's like I think most men will find a wife in the country they were born in. However, it just so happens that the laws in this country are not really, it doesn't really favor us that way. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like,
I know. I've been talking for a long time. Did the chat have any questions? Because I didn't get a chance to see the chat on this. I don't know how to look at the
now
chat.
the chat going off. Some people agree with you. Some people don't. Some people agree with me. Some people don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's they're they kind of mixed on that topic on this topic right now.
But your basic topic, your principal topic of is Asian women Latina women losing to Asian women. It's going to be impossible. It's more Latinas than Asian people.
Longevity wise, I think Latinas are because woman's goal is to lock down a man long term, and I think most travelers' goals once you get past like like just trying to take girls to Pound Town, you're gonna need to start setting up things long term, and I think when you start looking long term, Latinas lose because that BBL is not gonna be BBLing forever. You know what I'm saying?
Come on, Moses. It's funny. I watched your video earlier, and you was like people was calling you homie hub instead of saying Moses. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. But when I was like people call me Fresh, but Fresh is so much of an easy name. The actual brand name is the actual better thing to do because then people know the brand a lot better. So it's better kind of to have them know your brand name versus your real name because that might help you kind of grow even more. Damn, I forgot what I was about to say.
I was saying that the longevity I see it more with Asian women than I see with Latinas. I haven't seen 20, 30-year marriages. I haven't seen families, but I know because we have military bases inside of Asia, a lot of men, especially the black men, they have set the tone for Asians being open to actually being with black men rather than just using them for resources. Versus now, I would argue even a lot of the black men that get married inside of Latin America, they're just being milked for resources still. You know what I'm saying? This is just my opinion.
All right, so I had the girl on my live. I just did a live in Barranquilla with this girl named Wendy. Wendy's Barranquilla, and she said herself, the reason why women in Colombia, or at least in Barranquilla, want the money and they focus on the money, it's because they
Mhm.
want stability. And what people don't understand is that's a worldwide thing. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter what country. Women are going to go lean towards the money, not because women. Some people say women are hypergamous and they're going to do that, but that's not why. It's because they want stability, and once they feel as though one guy maybe loses stability, she's going to still go looking for stability. Now, that doesn't change whether you're in Asia or what's his name? Shout out to Zoom to Thailand. Zoom to Thailand is one of the brothers who came out and said, "Yo, I give my joint. I give my before he said I give my joint $500 a month. Then he said I give her now he gives her $1,000 a month, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Most brothers not going to be willing to afford and can't afford that.
Mhm.
So now when you talk about brothers going to Thailand to do that, it's because they're under the impression that they can just have a woman that's with them or for them. Now, while there are some people who pay and there's some people who don't pay, on a long term basis, as you say, you're going to have a monthly stipend. And most guys are not going to want to give a monthly stipend to get with the quality they're going to get from Thailand.
And that's why I think most men are better off staying their ass in the States. That's what I think. I truly think that, because once they come overseas and they see what this shit is, they're not ready for this shit for real. They're like, oh, like you guys going overseas to go trick, and I'm like, see, this is how I know that you're not even ready to come overseas, bro. Just keep your ass in the States. Real talk, real talk, real talk, bro.
Listen, again, man, you're never going to change the narrative. All you can do is just show you, and that's why I watch this. I watch this stuff. It's just a lot of time I'll be driving trucks, so I'm not able to respond. But you had said something about shit. God's never changed. God's never changed. Well, say what you said again.
I just think guys that
Yeah,
complain about giving women money when they come overseas are not ready to be overseas. They need to just stay where they at.
yeah, something that you said. Yeah. You had just said this on. I don't know which live it was because it might have been one of the lives that went to membership. I don't know, but you had said if I think about it, I'll think about it again. But I'll bring it up again.
Yeah.
But again, like I don't think again. I stay in the states. I think is the worst option only because you don't know what even if you come back to the states like me, I still live in the states. I still own property in the states. I still got kids
Mhm.
in the states. But even if you stay in the states, it's insanity to me. Again, I can only just think of insanity, and I know where that leads. So you know what I mean?
I see. I think you've reached another level that, like we'll talk about in future streams, but it's just being a global citizen, right? Where it's like you still
Like
you
that.
still have yourself in the States, but you still move around and you enjoy the perks of being able to move around, right? I think that's like that's going to be like a good option. I think for a lot of men, they're trying to decide, man, am I going to stay in the States or am I going to permanently relocate to another country? And I'm like, yo, do whatever works for you. But my whole point of my channel is I try to break down the reality now of being with a lot of these women, right? And it's like I've been saying, if you're going to come overseas, you're not accustomed to having to provide for a woman completely. That's going to become an expectation for you when you come overseas.
Yeah,
And now you have to accept the fact that she's not going to expect that from her local man. So she's never made her local man do that for her. But for you, she'll do that with you because she know you got it, right? Women are
hmm
only going to expect from you what they know you can give them. You know what I'm saying? So she's not going to expect her man to give her a $300, $1,000 stipend per month. But because she knows you can do it, she's going to expect it from you. And you need to be you can't be, oh, well, the
that's a
last
fact.
nigga ain't have to do that for you.
That's a
You
fact.
can't you can't do that, bro. You're going to have to just eat that. So are you prepared for that expectation and be on your shoulders? Most men are not. So if you're not ready for that, keep your ass in the States, nigga, and build yourself up here. But if you can get past that barrier,
Mhm.
that's what you're dealing with. In most countries that you're going to go to, we're not just talking about Thailand or like Colombia. It's going to be most places you go to.
Yeah,
You go to Africa, they're going to have an expectation of you, bro.
exactly.
That's what it is.
I just went to Ghana last year, so yo, it is. Matter of fact, Ghana to me is more of a woman to stay with you no matter what. You got a bunch of joints. They're comfortable with you having a bunch of joints as long as you can provide them with that stipend. In Latin
Mhm.
America, because the women are more attractive, they have more options. So yeah, that's might be less likely. But I think that's also that Thailand sounds. I haven't been there yet. Thailand sounds more like Ghana was or Africa was because they both come from like really poverty, really poverty. And so when they have something like us coming there and doing it, it's different.
Yeah, like I know a girl, she was telling me that because she had gotten engaged in Thailand, she said that the dude had to pay like 30,000 baht or like 60,000 baht just for the dowry,
They got dowries,
right? And that goes to the family. Yeah, bro.
I never
Yeah,
heard
bro,
that.
you ain't know that,
No, I ain't know that.
Yeah, bro. They got dowries in Thailand, bro. Hell yeah, they have dowries in Thailand, bro.
Oh, that's crazy.
Hell yeah, they do.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Hell yeah, they do. And that's culture. And a lot of dudes,
that's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Mad dudes is going overseas to try to like save money. It's like, yo, bro, once you guys get out there, y'all gonna realize. I'm telling
They
y'all.
still save money though.
I know you guys live in fantasy land.
Yeah.
Once you guys get out there, you gonna realize, yo, you're gonna be financially responsible for everything. Are you ready for that? Because you never grew up in a culture where that was the thing. I have a job, my woman got a job. We bring our finances together. If I'm the breadwinner, she still got to contribute something. And it's like you got to and some women are, some women are good overseas because they know they have to contribute something. But it's like, what is she realistically going to contribute?
Right.
That's really good, significant compared to what you're bringing in. That's why for me, I'd rather just have my girl just play the assistant role. Like, yo, help me close this deal. You'll follow up with that client. You'll help me do that because I'm like, you cooking and cleaning is not going to equate to the fact that your grandma got sick and now I'm paying for the.
Yeah,
like that's not equate over time, bro. It's not.
And that's when I go back to.
It's not.
I always try to lean back to the main topic that you said. Are Latina women getting won by Asian women? You put an Asian woman on a video, you're not gonna get as much views or clicks as a Latina woman. You know why? It's not just look.
But you talk about something else though.
That's personality. I'm not talking about looks. I'm just talking about personality. Because I'll be seeing everybody with the Asian women with the they died jovial and stuff. I shout out to the guy that do the pop the balloon joint. It's different. It's not the same vibe as you do pop the balloon in Atlanta or pop the balloon in Colombia. It's different. That's what I'm saying. It's like I don't want to say it like this, but the imitation is never going to be better than the real thing, no matter how cheap it is, how inexpensive it is, how comfortable, how stable it is. The imitation is, and you said earlier, it's like, y'all haven't seen me smile like this in Colombia? Yeah, I don't know. They watch the videos. Yeah, I've seen you smile like that when you had Shorty with the pink.
Nah, yeah.
Pink hair in there.
I be joking, bro. I be joking. I be joking, bro. I smile like that with everybody.
I mean, you was on the beach. You was on the beach on the four-wheel runner. Smiling. I didn't see you on the four-wheel runner in Asia. I didn't even see you on the jet skis in Asia. So like,
that's funny as hell.
I watch everybody. I'm gonna support everybody's channel because I've been doing this for like 16 plus years, man. Like one thing I realized is that when people do it for money, the issue is, I understand you had shows about this too, but when people do it for money, what happens is that you have to eventually switch your style because as a travel content creator, you ain't gonna make that much money unless you're an expat, and it may not be worth it because it's starting to come with a lot more bad things that come with it. But you could, if you really want to use this to make money, you could just do reaction videos. But then that's kind of for me, that would be losing the passion of why I'm doing this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think for me, I can make money anywhere else. Like I live in the United States, bro. We live in the United States, bro. We can make money 1,000 different ways, 1,000,000 different ways. The other countries nowhere near 1,000,000 different ways. Why can't I do something because I have the passion for it? And you know what I mean?
I mean, I want to say this too, Fly Boy, bro. You a dog, bro. Like you really are a grinder, and you don't. Pause. You don't make no excuses, bro. Like you really put in the work, bro. So I just have to respect you. You know what I'm saying? Like I respect you, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like you work hard, you keep uploading, you keep doing your thing. Yeah, I like talk about it when it comes to the money. For me, I like know my channel's small, but I think I monetize well for my small channel. But I would never go overseas and try to live off of YouTube. There's too many ways to make money. I've just figured out how to do it through my laptop. So I just live in these places because it's cheap. I saved over 30,000 this year just staying overseas because I have to pay rent.
Most people,
you know what I'm saying?
What most people don't know, what you just said across it, is that it's not even about how much money you make. It's about how much money you save for the lifestyle you live.
Mm-hmm.
And that right there will
Mm-hmm.
suffice you better than if you made $1 million. You got to pay 500,000. You got to pay 500,000 in taxes already. And then after that, you got a certain living expenses because if you're making that much money, you can't live in a hood. You got to live somewhere else. So that's more expensive. And
Mm-hmm.
you might need a nice car because you can't afford your car to break down. That's more expenses. So it's not necessarily how much you make per month, I mean per year, but rather what is your lifestyle creep that allows you to live a lifestyle.
Yeah, I save so much money. It's like I know, yo, I don't even have to work as hard. I mean, I still want to make a lot of money, but I don't really have to work as hard year to year because I don't have that kind of expense. So now I have all this time to think about how to make money. And it's like once you start doing, and I'm speaking for me because that's why we started this live stream. You start thinking to yourself, especially as a young dude, where could I build my life? Or if I'm going to spend a significant time in the Philippines, or if I'm going to spend a lot of time in Peru, what kind of woman would I marry, right? Can I put it or work it into my budget as to how I'm going to take care of her, start a family? Where's my kid going to school? Is my kid going to be homeschooled? You have so much more global freedom. And I feel like I want more of that conversation to exist in the travel space rather than us just chasing mangoes. And where's the best place to get a mango? What's the price of this and price? And I'm like, that's not like that conversation is interesting if you've never traveled. Once you've traveled, it becomes a very old conversation. Right? It's like, let's start having a conversation of how can this travel shit actually start benefiting me
See,
and turning me into a global citizen.
and we do. But the issue with that is going back to your first thing. If you got to make the money, that's not going to get you the money. That has to be a passionate thing you do for it. Because
Mm-hmm.
there's never shoot. Um, More people know um Muhammad Ali than know Malcolm X. More people know
Mm-hmm.
uh uh Michael Jackson than know anybody in the financial world. They might even Don Gote. More people know Michael Jackson than Don Gote. Don Gote, richest black man in the
Mm-hmm.
world. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's always going to be that way. And the only way that we never I'm an optimist, but we're never going to change this. But the only way that we can at least get it out there is if some of us follow our passion, find what we while following our passion, we build income somewhere else, so we don't have to give up our passion to build money on it. Because otherwise,
Yeah.
nothing. You can't change the world, but you can change one person's idea of how to move, and if that be happy with that one person.
I mean, bro, you doing it, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, you're one of the few black YouTubers in this travel space that speak Spanish. I think that's underrated as hell. I don't think people talk enough about that. I see Don Banks doing it. I like you feel me like the old. I mean, you're not that old, but like you feel me like some of the older guys that are like they're like showing you how to do it. But then like you got to tip your hat off, like I said, to the young dudes that figured out how to expat and live overseas. And like I said, there's not a lot of us. Like I don't know how old Travelversity is, but Travelversity figures something out and he's out there. I'm going back. I spent 3 weeks total in the U.S. in 2025, and that was only because I was going from Colombia to Thailand. I'm back in the U.S. only because I'm going from Thailand to Colombia. I virtually never have to be here, so it's like you know what I mean.
This is
Like,
what, no, Smosa. This is what I want you to do. If you could do it, I don't know, Jackson. You spent a lot of time in Thailand. When you go to Colombia, get your visa. Get a visa. Stay there for a year, and then compare the two. Because it's different when you know you got to try to find a way to stay there versus when you know you're good for a long period of time. You move a little
mm,
different. You do stuff a little different. You enjoy a lot more. So I think if you do that, and then we had the same conversation a year after you got your visa and lived there for a year, I really think you'll be more how how the voting poll going with Latinas are winning.
let me see what the poll is right now. Right now, we got 142 votes. We got 52% says Asian, 48% says Latina. Which one would you marry? The chat feels like the Asian women might make better wives. The chat feel like Asian women might make better wives.
I hear you. Again, if you follow passion, yeah. Oh, okay. So, you there? Oh,
Yeah, yeah, I'm good. I'm just going through the comments real
all
quick.
right.
Yeah. When's your flight, by the way? I hope
Shit.
I'm like hoping you're not gonna miss your
Now
flight because
I'm right
we.
next to it. My flight it was supposed to be 9 o'clock. It's at 10:49 now. So that's why I said I can come over here have a
Oh,
friendly debate because I think it'll open the eyes of people. Whether you believe either way, it gives you different ways to look at stuff.
How much time did you spend in Thailand, if
I've
any?
never been to Thailand. I was dating a Thai woman.
Oh,
You see, I dated a Thai woman for 2 years. That's the only thing I can come close. But I can talk about the dating experience of it. Talking to her parents,
yeah.
her cooking me that amazing Thai soup. Oh my god, it's so amazing. Um,
Have you been to Asia?
oh, but technically yes, but not really. When I say technically, I've been to
Oh,
Dubai.
come on, bro. So you just defeated like 50% of your argument. Like
No,
you ain't
no,
even been around the Asian jobs
no,
for real.
no. I just told you I dated a Thai woman who was from Thailand. That was my reference when I started off. I said this. I dated her for 2.5 years. Met
Where
them
you dated her at though? The US?
in the U.S. Yeah, of course.
Nah,
But again,
hell nah, bro. That don't count.
remember, she had only been here for 3 months when I met her. It's not like she was a person living here getting used to. She still hangs around only Thai people. But the issue is, I haven't dated a Thailand woman in Thailand. No, I have not. But that's not the debate that we're having. The women is not the country. We didn't say Thailand versus Colombia because that's a little
That
different.
true.
We,
That's true. That's true. That's true. But I think once a woman steps foot in this country, she's all the way tainted with westernization, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you.
nah,
I think
I didn't have any. The only thing is that she was into hip hop, and that was something she came from over there with. So like, I don't know if that's possible. I mean, maybe like in 3 months, there's not much you can change in 3 months. But yes, I do agree. After a year, after 2 years, 100%. I agree with you 100%.
yeah.
Every,
I
anywhere,
think when you
anywhere.
deal with women, like when like she doesn't even know if it's possible for her to come to a Western country, you gonna see her in her natural element, and you can make that decision. I'm not saying you guys got to spend 300,000 days in a country before you figure it out, but when you spend a significant time with somebody, and then you spend time with her, or you spend time talking to her, even after you leave her country, I always base a woman based on what she does for a living and whether or not she's gonna start asking me for money, because then I can understand her person. And I realize that some of these girls in Asia, they would rather figure it out than to ask you for it. But a lot of girls in Latin America, they would rather just ask you for it. Literally, I haven't
Ah,
met a single chick that doesn't ask me for it when I go to Latin America. I've just never seen it.
all right.
Peru, with the exception.
I've never heard of a person. I don't know anybody who's been in a relationship in Thailand that doesn't pay a monthly stipend. I know people who've been in relationships in Colombia where they do spend money when they're there, but they don't have a monthly stipend. They may send her some Western Union $200-300 every now and then, but it's not a significant monthly stipend where every month it got to be this much. And every single person I know in a relationship in Thailand, or a relationship in Philippines, or a relationship in Vietnam, they got that stipend.
Is the dude living with her? He's back in the States and he's sending money back to her.
All the people I know, no, I know both. I do know people who was living with them, paying, and people who was living out of the states to keep them off of having to go work or something like that. Because if you don't give them the money,
That's foolish.
they got to go back to the block.
Yeah, because they're
No,
cuffing
it's foolish to
whores.
me.
That's
It's
why.
foolish to me. It's foolish to me. Don't get it. It's foolish to me too. But it's a different culture, so I'm not going to talk bad on it. And I understand everywhere else is a different culture. Like, but that's not a culture in Latin America. Like, yeah, a woman might ask you to send her something every now and then, but it's not like, yo, you got to send me 500 a month. Even if you go back to the States, you got to send me 300 a month. That's not a thing in Colombia or
See,
Mexico or
bro,
or Panama or Costa
we
Rica.
can have this conversation for like 7 hours straight, because I would argue the
Yeah.
reason why women don't do that is because they're so inclined to just go hustle and sell it. Asian women aren't. Yes, I understand you have bar culture, soy six culture, and that brings in billions of dollars. It might even bring more money in Thailand than it does in Colombia, but you have to understand that there's so much of that population, they can't even break into that industry. Like that's like they can't even, like, if she wanted to sell it, like she probably wouldn't make any money. You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
Versus like Latin America, it's kind of hard to explain. Like in Latin America, their own men are their customers. In
Okay.
Thailand, not that common. The foreigner is the customer. Makes sense what I'm saying to you? So if
It's
she
because of
can't get
economics.
it,
Yes.
if she can't get it from the American, she's just gonna go get it from the, you feel like the other Latino that's willing to pay for it. So she don't got to ask you for that stipend. In Asia is different. A lot of them go without customer for a long time. That's why they got to go work other jobs. Inside of Latin America, that can be her only job. She doesn't have to. She's not going to go get a job. Like I'm telling you, brother. We can have this conversation all day because there's so many nuances. Like there's so many. Like this girl, she does what she does, but she has to work in a bar serving drinks. She's got to earn her money off of how many drinks she makes somebody else start sipping on, and then she earns excess with the S word. In Latin America, all they do is the S word. That's all she does. She's not about to go figure out how to feel like your cashier girl isn't bagging groceries and then going to
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like she's not doing.
But at the same note that you say that on, because the Latin American women in Latin America get more money and it's easier for them to get it, they don't have to do as much S work to provide the lifestyles they want as a Thai woman or Philippine woman or as an Asian woman has to do. So now we're talking a whole different ball game on the stuff that they're doing. It's okay, so my Latin American woman she got two suckers that give her money every month, right? Two suckers that give her money every month just because they want to give her money, not because she asks them, right? Versus your Asian girl your Thai girl or your Philippines girl, whatever it is, has to go do like 100 customers a week to get that same two things dealing. Now we're like, are you really going to still say that Asians are better than Latinas? It's like, I mean, I know it's what's the difference between 2 and 100 guys? I mean, we're 6'7". So what's really like for me? I'd rather go with the two. Give me the two. Give me you dating two suckers that's gonna send you money and buy you stuff versus you going to the bar to Soy Six and you had 100 dudes for the month just to make half the money she's making over there.
That is probably the most accurate shit you said as it pertains to just like comparing those two. But the only thing that uplifts Asia over Latin America is the fact that we have Japan and China and Korea.
Bro, come on. We got to stop this. We have got to stop this, y'all. We have got to stop throwing China in there, yo. Stop throwing Japan in there. Brothers is not going there and getting no cutty. Brothers is not. I watch. Mosa goes everywhere, right? My cat said HomiesHub is your brand. HomiesHub goes everywhere. He got joints everywhere. Carton, he got Colombia. He go wherever he go, he got joints. He go to Japan, like, you know what? It's not all about smashing the joint. I watched that vlog. I told you I watched you, bro. You can't come on here and just take some BS knowledge like I don't watch people, bro. Come on now. It's not all about this. Sometimes you gotta do
that's so point. That's so point. That's so point. I can't argue that. That's so point.
It's but yeah, I mean whatever. It was like I give it to him. Like I said, man.
That's on point. Yeah. That's on point. But see, I can't go based on my own personal experience. I didn't get no cutty in Japan, but I did meet men that are having girlfriends. They having long-term relationships. Black men, by the way.
Or they told you that. Or they told you that. Again, a lot of brothers be telling, oh my God, Moses, you just knew. Don't take this offense. You are so new to this because you've just got on, bro. Just got on, bro. When I'm comparing, say new. Everybody might watch, I'm comparing them, saying, he said he's been on 3 years. I've been on 16. So when I say he's new to this, he just got brought. A lot of the stuff that you see it's a charade, bro. To the point where a person could be in a relationship with a woman on camera for years, and the whole thing is a whole act. It's fake. Like you meet him in person, it's fake. It's not real. Mm-hmm. It's Santa Claus. Mm-hmm. So you just got to take everything with a grain of salt. That's why when you like the guy go over there, I'm happy with my wife. I live in the Philippines, yada yada yada. Turn off the camera, and now he's struggling. He's stressing. Bro, it's a different game out there, bro. And I only know that because I've seen it so many times. I just don't talk about it because it doesn't help the next person that's coming after us find a way to not have to be in the same world that we are in now.
Yeah, but see, some of us got to speak on that. I don't want to speak on it because I feel like enough people think that I'm like the bully in this space because I be calling niggas out. But it's like, I don't like the fact that people come over here and they be lying about what they doing because it's like, yo, bro, you really misleading a lot. Like, people only have this information because you're giving it. And you're not even giving the truth. Like, if you know you're not in a real relationship, that's why I be telling things. I'm like, bro, she only want my, like, I tell them, like, bro, she only want, I'm not even going to sell you the idea that this is my girlfriend. Like, she only wants money. And then I go for the girl, she's tired of hoeing. So sometimes she treat me like the guy she could come be with because she could get away from work. But I'm like, bro, I'm not meeting wifeable women in some of these places. But some of these niggas like, nah, nigga, I found my wife. We building a family. We buy a house together. I'm like, yo, y'all just coming on YouTube lying to niggas straight up.
You know why the reason why I'm probably going to be the happiest, most energetic, great person to be around, because when I was really young, I learned one of the most important lessons. You can't change anyone. You can only be the example that you want to see. You can only be the change, show the change that you want to see. Because it's going to lie, bro. People going to do whatever they got to do to get what they want. There are people, no offense to anybody, there are people who have great channels, but then they got a kid at home they're not taking care of. What they got bills that they got backed up. What they using everything for a credit card. So everybody ain't gonna have the same principles and morals, and what you see is not gonna always be what it is, and you can't control that. And the moment you realize that you should just live the life you live and not worry about anybody else, is the moment that life is gonna look so much better, bro. Like your energy level is gonna switch, your happiness is gonna switch. But a lot of people, it's hard for them to click over that because it is kind of crazy. Look at somebody like, bro, you really lying to these people, and I know you, but I'm not gonna push you out there. And you really lying to these people. It's crazy, but
No, that's wicked, bro. I think the lying shit is getting a little bit out of hand right now. But because I don't know dudes personally, I can't say whether they lying. I could say just like the perception they giving off and what I actually know to be real. Like I know if you met a girl somewhere, there's no way that is a wifey material. There's no way you're not giving her a stipend. And there's no like even I'm not gonna say dude's name because it's not just him.
Well, yeah, let's not any beef with anybody.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm gonna just speak in like general, right? Like you take this girl, you wife her, you do what you're gonna do, and then we see this girl getting wiped up by a bunch of other dudes, and it's kind of just like, well, was this your girl or was this not your girl, right? It's like which one is it? And like I said, I don't talk to ever offend nobody because I don't want to beef with no one. I don't want no one thinking that I'm targeting them. I really don't give a fuck that much. You know what I'm saying? But I try to say, yo, just for 1 second, I get you ran your play, you ran your views up, you did whatever it is. But do you know how many people you misled with this? Do you know how many people are really naive and they're making life decisions based on what they think and believe you're doing? So you got to be careful with this.
You know why I give him leeway? A little bit leeway. I understand YouTube. I can't just come on here and say, yo, I created a whole nother channel. I created because in mind you, I got the connections. There's people who got hundreds of thousands of subscribers and they don't know the people in YouTube. They don't know the vice president. They don't know the partner manager. They don't know the people above their partner managers. I know all those people, and I still created another channel to separate my emails from the brand channel that it took so long to build because of the fact that it's going to get to a point where if I know you can't, I can't tell you that, yo, it was this girl that I'm not going to point her out. One of the girls on the videos, I actually just rented. I can't say that, to be honest, on camera, because what happens when I do that? The video gets demonetized. My channel gets hit for promoting pros. Yeah. And then I lose all the stuff just because I wanted to be honest with my crowd. It was points where I used to respond to all comments. They took my whole video down because I responded to comments and I was giving them direct answers. So again, because I know that that's not a thing, I can't get completely mad at people who are falsely leading people to believe that. You know what I mean? I can't be completely mad.
Yeah, and see, that's why now I think I sympathize a little bit more with some of these guys because I'm like, at what point in this video is he gonna tell me she's not really my girlfriend? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is the point in him even doing that? There's no point in doing that. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm like, I get it. Like, I'm not really mad, especially if you running up the views and you getting money. It's like, all right, bro, do your thing. You know what I'm saying? But it just sucks because the guys that have never traveled to these countries or have never left America, they're the ones being misled until they get over here. But man, you should.
But it's their fault. You know, it's their fault though, right? Because if you don't do the research, you only have one person to blame. Just because
you. Why you gonna do the research, Flyboy? You, especially you're the person that's giving a lot of people their first ever information. Right. Not saying that you misled anybody, but us YouTubers, we're the ones giving them the information. So it's like, even if you're doing your research, you're pulling information based on what someone else is putting out there.
Yeah, but here's the thing. But you as an educated person, college graduate, you did graduate, I remember you. You're not going to just go to one source. to get. You're not going to go to one source and say I'm going to take 5 videos from the Flyboy Way and I'm going to believe whatever he says. No, you're going to go to Flyboy Way. You're going to go to HomiesHub. You're going to go to International Zoe. You're going to go to Check and Effect. You're going to go to multiple people and you're going to come up with some kind of truth. That's life. Life is to take all that you hear, put it in together, and make a truth that works for you. But what people are doing is they're being lazy and going to one person, taking everything they say as truth, going over there, and then they find out it's not truth. And that's not on the person who they watching. It's on the person who's going over there and doing that.
I was in Medellin one night with another YouTuber, and a guy that watches him on YouTube met him like 2 hours, 2 hours prior. He pulls up on us while we eating chicken or whatever. He was like, "Yo, bro, these girls are all asking me for something." And I'm like, "Yo, bro, like, I'm like, yo, bro, like, you be cap, bro, like your videos cap." And like he was saying this, he's like, "Yo, you be capping, bro, because like I didn't come here." He was like, "Yo, like I came here for you, bro." Like he said it to him, like, "Yo, I came here because I was watching videos and I was under the impression that you was just pulling all these baddies." I'm like, "Yo, I didn't know that this is what you had to do to pull them." And I just looked at him. He was like, "Nah, chill, chill." And I'm looking at him. I'm like, let me not even say nothing. This conversation don't got nothing to do with me. And I'm like, yo, that's crazy because you as the new traveler, when you come overseas and see what it is, you're going to feel like, damn, I feel lied to. Like, is this really what y'all doing? And bro, you don't know how some people going to feel.
Yeah, again, but a lot of people, because they need the money, are not going to take the risk. I take the risk because I don't need the money. The only risk I don't take anymore is being able to really go into detail like I did like I'm on Black Man Guides without putting them behind membership because it could get rid of the channel. It wasn't about losing the monetization. I didn't care if none of the Black Man Guides was demonetized. I just wanted it to be up there. But at that risk, it's not worth it. Just to make somebody else. Now, when they come to me, I tell them, "Yo, let me tell you how it really is." That's what I think the brother that you're talking about should have did. He needs to say, "Yo, there's a lot of stuff I can't tell you on YouTube. There's a reason why. Sit down with me and I'm gonna explain to you other stuff." That's why I say book a consultation. Because when you book a consultation, you get the real facts. Now I don't have consultations, but that's what I'm saying as far as the guy you were talking about. Because you can't say, "Oh, I told you all this stuff," but you never booked the consultation. You never asked me personally if it's how everything goes. So
yeah.
I mean,
you should sell consultations. I think you have a lot of information that dudes need.
Again, I do, but I don't, and this is gonna sound crazy. I make $500 a month. Maybe I make between $400 and $700 a month on YouTube. I show all my analytics. I'm probably the only YouTube content creator that shows you all my analytics. I make about $400 to $700 a month. During Christmas, I might make 1,000. During the month of winter, I might make 1,000. But the issue with that is that that's just off of ads. That's off of the money, the evergreen content I got. I get that off of ads. This ain't nothing about money for me. I don't have the time to really do it. You know what I mean? Like as much as I'm doing, I own real estate. I got kids. My son lives with me. I raised my son. I still travel more than almost anybody that's out here. So I don't have the time to sit and do a consultation. That's why I made the guides. But and if I did, it would never be for the money. That's why a lot of people ask me any question you want on Instagram. I might not get to you today or tomorrow, but I'm eventually get to you. But the time, look, I look. The only reason I got time to come on the live here is because the airplane is 2 hours late. So yeah man,
that's crazy. So Asian women are more financially successful than Latin women. That's a fact. What you think about that?
But wait, but who's standard? But here's the thing though. Are we talking about Asian women married to Asian men?
I'm just talking about it just feels like to me Asian women have more for some reason, maybe it's intellect, it's money, they have more patience and are a little bit more intelligent than Latin American women. And somebody said it in the comments. He was like, Asian women are just smarter, so they run their game better. I think that's true. I do think that they run game better than Latin American women. I ain't gonna lie.
That's a nasty statement. That's a nasty. Oh, I'm not correct. That's a nasty statement. That's a nasty. Oh, sorry. That's a nasty statement. But nah, you can't compare that. You know why? Because here's the thing. Do you know more Asian celebrities or more Latino celebrities? Like Latin women, more Latino women celebrities is by a landslide. More singers, actresses, everything. A play a different. there are no big Asian, super Asian stars like that transcend just Asia.
Yeah, but
These
how
Latin
many
Americans,
Asian women are in tech, bro? There's huge tech companies that's ran by Asian women. And and
I
then
would,
and then and then think about how many Latin women are actually running tech companies or just big business companies in
if I
general.
am correct, and I could be wrong, the culture in Asia is the man is the dominant one, is the one who gets all the things. Women are usually lagging behind Asia, like kind of like the '60s over here, in the '50s over here in the States.
That's a
That's
little bit incorrect. Inside of a
no,
lot of
okay.
Asian countries, it's more like a matriarchy where like like inside of Japan, the woman controls the finances, not the man.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And I
Okay,
think like that in China too.
okay. So I can't. Okay, so I won't speak too much in that because from the people I know, it was always like my small what 40, 50, maybe 40 group of Asian people I know. In their situation, is like the wife is secondhand. She doesn't have the best job. She's not the one who's the dominant controller of the family. So again, that one I don't know, but just in general, as far as celebrities, actresses, and stuff, I see Latin women making way more money. I don't know. If you could Google it because you're at a computer,
Yeah.
Google do Latin women or Asian women make more? I'm almost guaranteed it's gonna be Latin.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, hold on. Let me run the math real quick. Let's see. Do Asian women on average make more money than Latin women? All right, so this is a summary, guys. You guys can go do the research yourself and actually pull up the source, but this is the summary as AI has pulled it up from a couple sources. And I'll
Mm-hmm.
show some of those sources if you guys want to go verify that. But basically, what it's saying
So
here is
yes,
Asian women on average make more money.
in the United States.
Yes.
Okay, we're not talking about the world. All right.
Worldwide, that would
Okay.
be a little bit difficult to like calculate, but bro,
Okay.
I promise you, you don't even have to do that much research. Just
To know.
yes, I know dudes are not going to China, but just think China, Korea, Japan.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting blown out the water when it comes to Latin American countries. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So Asian
I stand
women
corrected.
overall, I think me personally, this is my personal opinion. I think
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna probably have a quicker route to wealth if you married an Asian woman versus marrying Latina woman. That's just my opinion.
I can you know what, I can actually agree with that. I can actually agree with that part.
Yeah.
What I was saying, I can agree with that part. Um, yeah, I can agree with that part for the most part. I can agree with that. Yeah.